What's up, everybody? Tonight we're going to talk about Big Baby Miller and more when we come right back. Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and tonight, wherever you are in this world, hopefully you're somewhere chilling, having a good time, parlaying. If you're here in America, you're probably watching football in some areas. But for those who are tuned in at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast, do me a big favor and hit that like button on YouTube as you enter the chat. And like I always say, please tell a friend or three about Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. All right, so seen a few things pertaining to the Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez showdown, January 31st. It'll be here before we know it. I see some training footage of Shakur Stevenson on YouTube. He's looking very sharp, as expected. You know, he's that type of stylistic fighter. He's very educated with his feet. His ring IQ, his ring generalship is always on par. You know what I'm saying? He's never really missing a beat. The only thing he's never really had is, he's not known necessarily for power. But in every other category, he pretty much checks all the boxes. Shakur Stevenson is a very, very good fighter. So now, sometimes when it comes to resumes, he has a good resume, but it's not great. And I know people talk about Tank Davis when you bring up Shakur Stevenson, but of course, Tank Davis has been kind of MIA right now, so we don't know what he has going on. But as far as Shakur Stevenson, yes, he is definitely a skilled fighter. This fight, I'm going to just split it down the middle and call it a 50-50 fight. I can see opportunities to where Teofimo Lopez could win. Now, a lot of people say it won't be close. They feel like as far as a skill level, Shakur Stevenson is going to dominate Teofimo Lopez in this fight. So let me know what y'all think in the chat. Will Shakur Stevenson dominate on January 31st, 2026? Is he going to dominate Teofimo Lopez? Please let me know. In the chat. And I'm gonna talk about Teofimo and Shakur as far as some other interviews I saw. So now these are the words of Roy Jones, the legend, Roy Jones Jr. I'm paraphrasing, but he was on Fight Hub TV, and he said stylistically, T.O. gotta go for broke. He said he must take some to give some. He said Shakur makes you gamble to beat him. He said, so therefore Teofimo must be willing to gamble in order to beat him. He said if Teofimo Lopez can make it a really good fight, he's going to have to take those type of risk and roll the dice or whatever. Because he know he's fighting a very skillful fighter. So fighting a well-balanced fighter like Shakur Stevenson, you can't play into the hands of his style. You can't really box a boxer. They always say, if you're going to fight a boxer, you got to actually fight the boxer. You know what I'm saying? And if you're fighting a power puncher or a brawler, then you can box him because you want to move, stick and move, hit and don't get hit. But Shakur Stevenson is a situation to where Tafime is going to have to just go in there and, like Roy Jones said, he's going to have to gamble. Now, there was another interview, and the source is Punch Drunk Boxing. Now, Tafime Lopez Sr., the father of Tafime Jr., he says they have nothing to prove. He said Shakur has everything to prove. He said that he feels that Shakur is going to get stuck. He said, I believe my son is going to do him like he did Lomachenko, and he's going to freeze up. Now, let me know what y'all think. Do you think that Shakur Stevenson will look like a deer in the headlights when he actually steps in with Tafime Lopez? Is there truth to what T.O. Sr. is saying pertaining to these guys? Now, I don't personally see Shakur freezing up, but I do think it'll be a good strategy to look at the strong points of when he fought William Zepeda. When William Zepeda did have his best success, it was generally if he could maneuver and push Shakur back against the ropes. If Tafime can get Shakur on the ropes, back against the ropes, that's when he's most vulnerable. And that's when he needs to try to take advantage. He needs to go as often as he can to the body of Shakur Stevenson. He needs to come up with devise a plan to attack the body of Shakur. That would be in his best interest. So let me know what y'all think in the chat below. You know, like I said, I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, I'll sound like a broken record. Here at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast, we value your opinion. So as long as it's a respectful opinion, it's all good. So let me know what you think. Trying to get to my comments, y'all, so please be patient. I don't know if my phone's acting up. Okay, here we are. Greetings to you, fam. I appreciate you pulling up, cuzzo. Thanks for being here. And make sure everybody hit that like as you enter. Now, on that card, January the 31st, we also have Big Baby Miller. Now, of course, you got a Big Baby Anderson out of Toledo, Ohio, but this is Jarrell Big Baby Miller out of New York. I want to say Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. He will be fighting Kingsley Ibeh, I believe you pronounce his name. He is 16-2-1. He's a Nigerian-born fighter who is residing in Phoenix, Arizona, USA. Kingsley's last opponent was Gerald Washington. For those who may not be familiar with Gerald Washington, he was an opponent of Deontay Wilder on his rise through the heavyweight division some years ago. Gerald Washington also fought the likes of Charles Martin. And I want to say Charles Martin stopped him in the mid to later rounds when they fought. So the last opponent of Kingsley was Gerald Washington, and he stopped him by TKO. Well, this is the guy that Jarrell Big Baby Miller will be fighting. And I feel like Big Baby Miller is going to win this fight. I feel like this is going to be... I think he'll stop him within 5 to 7 rounds. That would just be my prediction. But let me know y'all prediction. I say Big Baby Miller is going to stop Kingsley between rounds 5 and 7. So let me know if you feel the same, or if you have a different opinion. Let me know as well. Um, Also another heavyweight that I would not mind seeing Big Baby Miller fight in the near future is Moses and Tuma. But, you can't always count our eggs before they hatch. Right now, Moses and Tuma will be facing Jermaine Franklin soon as his next opponent. But I feel like Moses and Tuma and Jarrell Big Baby Miller would be a good test for him. I think Miller would be a very good test for Moses and Tuma. Although I feel Jermaine Franklin is a very good test. Because one thing about Jarrell Big Baby Miller, he's a really, really big guy. He has a good chin. He's shown that he had a good chin when he fought Daniel Dubois, although he got stopped in the very last round. He shows that he could put pressure on you. He'll keep coming at you. He throws a lot of punches per round. To be a big guy like he is, he's an active output puncher. So I feel like Jarrell Big Baby Miller would be another good test for Moses and Tuma. Maybe next year in 2026, later next year, because he'll be fighting Jermaine Franklin. Let me get the actual fight date. That'll be January 24th, next month. So yeah, so definitely sometime next year, it'll be cool to see Big Baby Miller and Moses and Tuma get it in. But as far as Moses and Tuma versus Jermaine Franklin, how do y'all see that fight going? Jermaine Franklin is a tough fighter out of Saginaw, Michigan. He's kind of cagey. He's got decent hand speed. He'll put up a good fight. I guess the thing is, okay, Jermaine Franklin has never been stopped. So the question is, could Moses and Tuma be the first person to stop Jermaine Franklin? So that's what's going to be an interesting thing. If Moses and Tuma can stop Jermaine Franklin, that's going to say a lot, And it seems like, for some reason, when it comes to Moses and Tuma, he seems to be the guy that people are trying to get in the mix with. A lot of these guys are trying to get a fight with Moses and Tuma, the young up and coming UK star. So I even heard a few months ago, Richard Torres had called out Moses and Tuma. So Richard Torres, he's cool. I mean, he can hit. He has power. But to me, Moses and Tuma is better as far as footwork, speed, probably better timing. So it would be a good fight as long as it lasted. But I would have to sway towards Moses and Tuma. If he fights Richard Torres, hypothetically, I would say Moses and Tuma wins that because of, like I said, all the intangibles he has and all the different variables I just said. That's kind of why I would lean towards Moses and Tuma. And just to add icing on the cake, he's a southpaw. He's a left-handed fighter. So a lot of times, the left-handed fighters, the southpaw fighters, they give the orthodox fighters hell because they're struggling trying to, learn that awkward style, that different stance. It gives some guys it gives some boxers fits. But speaking of Big Baby Miller, since that's who I mainly was kind of talking about, let's talk about his resume a little bit. Let's reflect on the resume of Jarrell Big Baby Miller. All right, y'all. So Jarrell Miller has 26 wins, 22 by knockout, one loss by Daniel Dubois, and he has 2 draws. He's he has an 84% KO knockout ratio. His nickname, of course, is Big Baby. That's his alias. He's age 37. He's an orthodox fighter. He stands 6'4", and he has a 78-inch reach. Hailing from Brooklyn, New York. And if you ever saw him in interviews, you could see he has that New York edge to him. Kind of has that somewhat of a bully. He could be kind of a bully type. But he can also be humorous at the same time. You know, he could be a funny guy too. So like I said, his next fight will be Kingsley on the 31st of January. Prior to him, he fought Andy Ruiz, a fighter that we've seen do great things when he defeated Anthony Joshua and stopped him at Madison Square Gardens in New York. When AJ first came from UK to fight in America, he was stopped by Andy Ruiz. Well, Andy Ruiz was, in my opinion, he was gifted a draw, because when he fought Big Baby Miller, although he's very rough, he has a good chin as well. He wasn't backing down, and he injured his hand as well in that fight. But I feel like Big Baby Miller definitely won that fight, and it shouldn't have been a draw. So at some point, I'm thinking that they may rematch, just so they can get a more defining decision between the two. Prior to that, he lost against Daniel Dubois. That was December 23rd of 2023. He was stopped by Daniel Dubois out of UK. Prior to him, in the same year, he fought Lucas Brown. Now, I want to say Lucas Brown is not active in boxing like that, and I want to say he's up in age too. But Lucas Brown is more into the bare knuckle, I want to say, almost like the cage type fighting. But he won a TKO victory over him. A few of his fights of his mid career, he also fought Gerald Washington. He beat Gerald Washington. He TKO'd Marius Wach. Big Baby Miller fought Jahan Duapas, another former opponent of Deontay Wilder. He won by a unanimous decision over him. He fought a guy out of, I want to say he was from Ohio, Donovan Dennis. I saw that fight, and Big Baby Miller TKO'd him. So Big Baby Miller has a decent resume, and he has a couple of good names on there. So I think after this fight, hopefully he'll start to get back into the names like the Andy Ruizes and the Daniel Dubois. Hopefully he'll fight eventually Anthony Joshua. That was a fight that was on the floor a couple years ago, and it didn't happen due to Jarrell Big Baby Miller testing dirty for PEDs. performance enhancing drugs. So now that he's back in the mix, I can say that it's definitely up in the heavyweight division. Now with talking about Deontay Wilder, of course, for those who may or may not know, Alexander Usyk has called out Deontay Wilder, so all that's been going around circulation very heavy, and hopefully we get to see that happen and manifest in this upcoming next year, 2026. But also at the same time, Derek Chisora is saying that he's looking for his 50th opponent, and this will be his retirement fight. So he's even stated that he would fight Deontay Wilder. Now, actually, I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but what do y'all think, man? I think that Derek Chisora is definitely a formidable uh, opponent. He's very rugged and tough, and he's that type of guy to where I wouldn't call him a tune-up. Now, some people may consider him a gatekeeper, but Derek Chisora has a crazy resume, like with the craziest amount of names, top names. Now he's come up short a lot. He has what, 36 wins, 23 by knockout, 13 losses. But look at these names. He fought Otto Wallen. He won by a UD. Derek Chisora, he fought Joe Joyce. He beat him by unanimous decision. He fought Gerald Washington. He beat him by unanimous decision. In 2022, he lost to Tyson Fury by TKO. In that same year, 2022, he beat Kubrat Pulev by split decision. He fought Joseph Parker back-to-back in 2021 and lost both by decision, one by split and one by unanimous. Now, some people feel like the first fight, they felt like Joseph Parker lost. That actually Derek Chisora won. He did drop Joseph Parker in that fight. But in the rematch, man, Joseph Parker really heated up and dropped Del Boy multiple times. In 2022, Alexander Usyk, Chisora lost by unanimous decision. 2019, he fights David Price and wins by TKO. 2019, that same year, a KO over Arthur Spilka. 2 fights before that, 2018, Dillian White, he lost by knockout. 2018, that same year, he fights Carlos Takam, wins by TKO. In 2017, he fights Ajit Kabiel and lost by decision. 2016, the first Dillian White fight, he lost by split decision, and some people say Chisora might have won that fight and should have won that fight against Dillian White back in 2016 when they first fought. 2016, he fought Kubrat Pulev and lost. He fought Kevin Johnson in 2014 and won. Malik Scott, he fought him in 2013 and won by TKO. And Malik Scott is the brother of Deontay Wilder. Not blood brothers, but they are really, really close. He lost to David Haye in 2012. He fought Vitaly Klitschko in 2012 and lost. Also to Robert Helenius in 2011. He fought Danny Williams, who Mike Tyson fought at the end of his career. In 2010, he TKO'd Danny Williams. So he has a lot of names, and he's had 49 fights. That's a lot of fights. So for his 50th fight, he wants to fight Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Bomb Squad, aka Bomb Squad, out of Alabama, USA. Um, and of course, something that's been buzzing is the fact that 2026, the only fight that people want to see as far as in the heavyweight division, is the long awaited match with Anthony AJ Joshua versus Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Now, going many years back, I've always felt in my heart that Anthony Joshua would stop Tyson Fury. That he would either knock him out or stop him in the championship rounds. Like around round 8, round 9. Now some people feel like Tyson Fury is the second best heavyweight after Usyk. Now he definitely has potential to be at that level to say he's the second best. But right now, to me, he hasn't fought enough top caliber names to just be anointed as the second best heavyweight of this era. To me, Tyson Fury needs to fight a handful of other fighters out there. There's so many fighters out there he could still fight if he does get his act together and stop playing the hokey pokey and 1 second saying you're out and 1 second you're in. I mean, are you retired? Are you unretired? You know, all that flip flop. Maybe it's some type of bipolar from what I'm hearing. I don't know. But just think about it. You got people like Zilly Zhang. Tyson Fury could fight. I mean, obviously we want the AJ fight first, but you got the Zilly Zhangs out there. You got Andrew Ruiz out there. You got Ajit Cabello out there. You got Fabio Wardley out there. You got Daniel Dubois out there. So there's a lot of heavyweights still that are some big hitters or top tier fighters that Tyson Fury could fight. And he's just choosing to not fight them. Yet he's getting all this adulation from people that he's done this, that, and the other, which he's done great things in boxing. Don't get me wrong. Because, you know, like I said, I'm not going to be biased. He's done great things in boxing. You know, he beat Klitschko back in the day. He stopped him from his reign. Years down the line when he came back after the personal life issues with being strung out on cocaine and stuff and depression, he came back and fought Deontay Wilder and fought him 3 times. And had a draw the first fight, and then he won the second fight, and he won the third fight. So he's done good things in boxing. It's just that there's a handful of names that I'm interested in seeing Tyson Fury face in 2026. And if he hangs in there to 2027, I would say he could fight 2 fights in 2026 and 2 fights in 2027. So if I'm giving my 4 opponents that I want for Tyson Fury, we know that in 2026, he's going to have a warm-up fight. Then his second fight in 2026 should be Anthony Joshua. Then in 27, I would like to see him fight Ajit Kabiel or Fabio Wardley. Whoever between those 2 guys is still undefeated at the time, I would like to see fight Tyson Fury in 2027. So hopefully we'll get those names in the mix here in the future, y'all. And we're a few days past Christmas or whatever. So for all the people who celebrate Christmas, hopefully you got the gift you wanted this year. And hopefully the kids are all happy with their gifts and all the good cheer. And we'll be ready here in a couple of days for another new year. Right around the corner, y'all. 2026. So yeah, that's what we got. So we're not going to stay on here much longer, y'all. So make sure if you run this back this week, like I say every week, because I know sometimes people are busy on Sundays. You could be having dinner or out and about. But if you catch this on the replay, please hit thumbs up. Just as quick as you can come on here, just tap thumbs up for me. It's free, and it really helps the algorithm. Also, we got the link down there, y'all. In the description area, we got the link tree. And if you follow me on FB, definitely follow me on my Twitter. If you have any issues, just inbox me on FB, on Facebook. But yeah, my Twitter link should be there as well. Also follow me on my TikTok, because I'm trying to be a little more in tune with those 2 platforms, Twitter and TikTok, a little more. So, just reach out to me. Hit me up anytime. We got the gear, the merch, the hats, different colors. And we got hoodies and tees and all that kind of good stuff, y'all, at Rainwalk Boxing Podcast merch. And we also have a donation area there with the Venmo. So if you're looking to help the channel grow, you can make a donation with that Venmo there. All right, everybody. So y'all have a good night, and I will catch you all on the next round. Peace.